What's up, everybody? My name is Brad, and welcome back to another episode of Brad's Book Awards, where I've been talking about all of my favorite books that I read in 2020. These aren't necessarily books that came out in 2020, came out last year. These are just books I read last year, and these are my top books from every category that I'm doing. Last episode, we talked about the top 7 non-horror books. Definitely go check that one out. I'll link it up in the cards. But for today's category, we're going to be talking about my top 7 horror short story collections and anthologies. I'm mixing them together. I didn't feel like I read enough short story collections and anthologies to do a video for each one. So I'm combining them together into one video since they're kind of the same. They're all short stories, just some are by one person and the other ones are by multiple people. So today we're talking about my top seven short story collections and anthologies. And kicking off our list today, coming in at number 7 is Worst Laid Plans, an anthology of vacation horror put out by Grindhouse Press. This was edited by Samantha Klesnick and has a foreword by Sadie Hartman, Mother Horror herself. This one was a lot of fun. I really liked that they all weren't beach vacation stories. There was a great variety here, and it's got a lot of really big name authors in the indie horror small press world. Some of my favorites in here were Summers with Annie by Greg Sisco. That one was very poignant. It was different than all the other ones. We have Expertise by Asher Ellis, Unkindly Girls by Haley Piper, Peelings by Kinsey Jennings. And I think she wrote Red Station, I believe it's called, the splatter western that everyone is raving about right now. But my favorite story in here, if I remember correctly, was The Kukui of Cancun by V. Castro. Really solid anthology here, great stories in here, and like I said, a great mix of not just beach stories but all kinds of vacation stories. There's one where they're going in here to they're kind of going cave exploring. One of them is Disneyland, all kinds of stuff. So it was a lot of fun. This is my number 7 pick. It is Worst Laid Plans, an anthology of vacation horror put out by Grindhouse Press, edited by Samantha Klesnick, with the foreword by Sadie Hartman. And coming in at number 6, this one was actually a surprise. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did. I didn't really know what to expect going in. It was really quite hilarious at times. But my number 6 pick is Laughing at Shadows, edited by Brett Rostreifer. This is put out by Bad Dream Entertainment. This is another anthology, and it mixes horror with the hilarious with humor, and it is super funny, some of them. Just thinking about them. Some of my favorite ones in here was, where's it at? It Came from Mail Order by Eric J. Gunyard. That one was really funny. Captain Pistachio's Charming Rampage by Jeff Strand actually had me physically laughing out loud. That one was funny. But if I remember correctly, my favorite one in here was The Night Stalkers by Sean Logan. And that one's basically they're like at a Walmart or grocery store, and it's the Night Stalkers, and something crazy happens. But the lead Night Stalker, he reminded me of Danny McBride, like an Eastbound and Down version of Danny McBride. I was picturing him in my head and his voice saying that guy's lines, and it just made it all the much funnier. Yeah, this one was a really funny surprise. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a different change of pace from all the bleak, dreary, sort of almost depressing type of horror that I read a lot. This one was horror mixed with funny, and don't let the covers fool you. This isn't your kid's version. This is for adults. There's cussing and violence and all that fun stuff. Yeah, this is my number 6 pick. Laughing at Shadows, edited by Brett Rostreifer, put out by Bad Dream Entertainment. Coming in at number 5 is another anthology. 5, 6, and 7 were all anthologies, and I believe the other ones are all collections. But I really enjoyed this one because of the setting. The setting added a whole lot to these stories for me. And this is Appalachian Horror, edited by Bo Chappelle, put out by Aphotic Realm. If you're a fan of the channel, you know I love stories set in the Appalachian region, that southern grit kind of stuff. I really love that. I live in Kentucky, and where I'm situated, I'm really close to that border of the Appalachian region. And there's just something about the setting there and the people and the types of stories that can be told there that really speak to me. And when you add horror into the mix with that, it elevates it to another level. So this is a really enjoyable anthology for me. And some of the ones in here I really liked. I liked Entrails by John Morgan. The Ghost Sang by Jeffrey X. Martin. That one was about a ginseng patch. Blood is Always Thicker by Tony Evans. If I remember correctly, my favorite one was Braids Like Roots by Damascus Mincemeyer. I think that was my favorite one. It might have been The Bend by C.W. Blackwell. But either way, I really, really enjoyed this anthology. It was a lot of fun, mixing that Appalachian, Southern grittiness type feeling with horror and infused and mixed together really well. I'd love to have like Appalachian Horror Part 2, do another one. That'd be a lot of fun. This is my number 5 pick, Appalachian Horror, edited by Beau Chappelle, put out by Aphotic Realm. And coming in at number 4, I have to add some Stephen King on these lists somewhere, and this is Stephen King's If It Bleeds. This is his newest short story collection. They're not really short stories, they're longer form stories, but there's 4 in here. They're probably maybe 80, 100 pages a piece. I guess novelettes, really, but I really enjoyed this one. It's got 4 stories, like I said. It's got Mr. Harrigan's Phone, The Life of Chuck, If It Bleeds, the title track, and Rats. If I had to pick a favorite, it would be The Life of Chuck. I really dug that one. That one's told sort of in reverse. It starts with Act 3 and then goes to Act 2 and goes to Act 1. Sort of reverse time. I really like that one. I like just how different it was. And this is horror. It's not your old school Stephen King horror, like Salem's Lot and It and The Shining. This is more new school Stephen King horror. It's different. It's almost more literary, but it has the subtle undertones of horror and supernatural lying underneath. But I really dug it. If you like Holly Gibney, she has a story in here. The Holly Gibney, If It Bleeds, is the title story, and that ties heavily into the Mr. Mercedes trilogy and the book The Outsider. I would suggest reading those first before you read that particular story in here. This was another solid collection by King. Like I said, this is my number 4 pick, If It Bleeds by Stephen King. And coming in at number 3, we're down to the top 3. This was a book I read right at the tail end of 2020. This is Dreaming at the Top of My Lungs by Israel Finn. I was really blown away with his writing. He is a fantastic writer. It was almost magical realism, sort of in a way. And every story seemed to have almost a twist at the end, sort of a plot twist. 2 of them off the top of my head that I really loved was Stones. I really loved the subverting of your expectations. You thought it was all about one thing, and then you find out it's about something else. But my favorite story in here was Deadfall Lane. That one felt almost Appalachian, sort of old country kind of style, out on a farm, out in like sort of the country. I don't know, I just really like stories like that. This one, it was solid. Like I said, it was almost sort of magical realism in a way, but horror aspects mixed in as well. No Such Thing as Monsters was really good. Over My Dead Body. I like the last one, Ugly. Is that the last one? Yeah, Ugly. Just overall, a really solid short story collection. I really enjoyed Israel Finn's writing. I definitely want to check out more of his work. But this is my number 3 pick. This is Dreaming at the Top of My Lungs by Israel Finn. And coming in at the number 2 spot, this was a really fantastic collection. This was my first experience ever with this author, and I read it near the beginning of the year. This is Lucid Screams by Red Legault. I love the well-roundedness of this collection, if that makes sense. We have a story at the beginning, and we go through all the other stories, and then it all ties back together in this like perfect circle by the end. A really great collection, a lot of variety in this collection, had a lot of stories in it. Some of my favorite ones were The Great American Eclipse, Odor Mortis. There's one called Slice, which was kind of funny. It's almost like a haunted pizza parlor. That one was really funny. I think they're Russian too, which I don't know why it made it even funnier. Astronomer's Mistress was another great story in there. Yeah, I love I think in my review, I likened it to a comedy sketch and it's not that these are funny stories. That one Slice is kind of funny, but they're horror stories. But what I mean is a good comedy sketch, the comedian will usually have a joke near the beginning, and he'll go through his whole set, and then at the end, he'll tie back into that same joke, that same punchline from the beginning. It felt like that had this well-roundedness to it. And that first and last story, they're great, especially once you read them together. But overall, a really, really fantastic collection. Lucid Screams by Red Legault, that's my number 2 pick. She has another one coming out soon that plays off the sort of same title. I can't remember what it's called, but the covers, you put them together, they almost match. It looks really cool. But yeah, my number 2 pick for collection / anthology of the year, this is a collection, is Lucid Screams by Red Lego. Coming in at number 1, go ahead and roll the drum roll. My number 1 collection / anthology of 2020, this is a collection, is Fear of Freestanding Objects by Doug Rinaldi. This is put out by Mayhem Street Media. I really, really love this collection. I don't know, something about his writing and storytelling just felt next level. It felt super polished and professional and clean and crisp and sharp. I don't know, not that the other ones aren't good, but I don't know, something about his writing just felt elevated above all the others, for me at least. There's a ton of stories in here. It feels like they're all super deep, and you get a lot out of these stories for a 10 to 20 page story. They feel really dense, but in a positive way. That's what I'm looking for. Some of my favorite ones in here is The Sickening was really good. The Yattering, I believe that's the one about the haunted sort of bookstore. Alchemy of Faith was really good. An Incident in Central Village. A Different Kind of Slumber. In-Game. Just all of them. I don't think there was one story in here that I did not like. I liked some more than others, but there weren't any that I just didn't care for at all. And that's very rare in a collection or anthology. Usually there's some you really love and some that just don't work for you. But this one, every single one worked for me to a varying degree. This is my number 1 pick for collection / anthologies. This one's a collection. Fear of Freestanding Objects by Doug Rinaldi. So that's it. That's the end. This has been my top 7 horror anthologies / collections that I read in 2020. All of them are fantastic. All of them are definitely worth your time. If you haven't read any of them, I definitely suggest you go pick them up. Check them out for yourselves. Next up, we have the grand finale coming up next episode. It's going to be my top horror novels that I read in 2020. That will be coming out very soon, so be on the lookout for that. We're going to pour a shot of bourbon, and I'm sad. We're almost near the end. Oh, we're going to have to do something for it in the next episode. Get something else. But this has been, thank you all for spending your time with me. Again, my name is Brad. Cheers to all the winners, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.